So look where we are today. It's a beautiful view. It's a magical place here up on top of the hills of Florence. You can have this breathtaking view, and this is a really special, mystical place because to be in the presence of the Basilica of San Miniato, which is one of the most beautiful, incredible spots of Florence, actually the highest point of Florence. And we're able to admire the city and this beautiful architecture and this beautiful church. It's one of the oldest churches of Florence because it's been here since 1018, and it's incredible how it's kept as it was as it used to be. And also the walls that surround, the countryside, the city, the defensive walls. And they were done, most of these walls, by Michelangelo himself when Florence was under siege in 1529, 1530. Michelangelo, as polyhedric and eclectic and crazy as he was also minister of war for the Republic of Florence, and he built these defensive walls that in a way creates, like, for me, a sort of like a cradle, a beautiful, protective spot of this mystical, incredible place. And we look at this facade, Joanne, and look how enchanting it is with this perfect geometry. It's really one of the finest examples of Romanesque architecture. The first example of Romanesque architecture in Tuscany, which became then like the teacher. Everybody was inspired by this facade when they created the Romanesque architecture in Tuscany. Geometry, 3 levels, a beautiful, Byzantine mosaic there, and of course the eagle up on top, which again tells us something about the city itself, because the eagle is the symbol of the guild of the merchant of cloth, the Arte di Calimala, and they were the protector of this church. So they were in charge of making sure in medieval times that the church was well kept and was restored. But for me, it's always missing something, because many people come here and enjoy the beauty of the church, but I know there's also more of a symbolic and magical and mystical meaning to it, no?
Yes, absolutely. The number 5 was used a lot in this, and we can see the 5 portals there.
Yeah.
So that's a sign of creativity, and there's lots of you might say rogue zodiac wheels. These ones that we can see there, and inside there's the famous astrological wheel.
Yes,
that was placed there the seat was seeded in 1207.
Oh wow!
On the 28th of May.
Very interesting.
Because they and that particular time, there were lots of planets in Taurus. We had the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, all in Taurus. And they wanted these planets in that particular sign because it was going to mean that it would be a place of great beauty.
Wow, incredible.
If you think of what Taurus means, it's a sensuous sign. It's ruled by Venus, so Venus is in its own place in Taurus, and it will last. It's going to be something solid. It's a solid foundation for the spiritual life.
Okay, great. So maybe let's go inside and have a look at it, because then we can really people can understand coming in here, which, I really suggest if you are in Florence and you want to rest your soul and mind, to come up here and see the beauty and the meaning, like the symbolic meaning of this church from the inside, so we can really go and enjoy it. The church is always open for people during the daytime, so really it's a special spot. So So welcome inside. Finally, we are inside, and before we look at this beautiful mosaic, I want us to focus on the light of the church because it's soft, it's very delicate, and it actually hits some of the most remarkable architecture and spots inside the church. Like, for example, you have the mosaic in the back that is incredible. You have Christ, with the evangelists, and then you have this beautiful Renaissance chapel of the cross just in front of the choir. The choir is on it's on a pedal, and the architecture is very interesting because below the choir we have the crypt. And what is remarkable here is that this is actually the original architecture of the Romanesque church. It's the only one in Florence that it was kept like this. So already we have something very special, one of the reasons to come here. And you feel magic, you feel astronomical and astrological vibration in here, I think. And when I'm here with you, I think it's really interesting for us to understand more about this, no?
Yes, no, absolutely. Well, for me it's fascinating because I love astrology, and here we have this amazing astrological wheel on the floor. So it's been divided into 12, the 12 signs, and then we have a symbol for each sign here on the floor. And one particular one that's very interesting is this sign of Cancer there, the only one that has a circle around it. And so you've been talking about light. And what happens to that on the summer solstice is that the sun beams in directly into that circle and lights it up.
Wow, it's incredible. Okay. It's worth coming to see
so
it.
It's actually the oldest working sundial in Europe.
Incredible. I didn't know this. This is incredible. So I mean, people could actually enjoy this mystical experience if they were here at that time of the year. So that's another reason to come and admire this beautiful church. Yeah. Wow. And what can you tell me about the Pisces over there? It's very interesting to me.
Okay. So we've got 2 fish. Now normally the fish sign is we've got one fish chasing the other, chasing each other's tail. Whereas this is very different. And it's not only here, there's another place I can show you later where the fish are going upwards. So this is part of the symbology around fish. That it's going towards heaven. Yeah, the spiritual life. Okay. Pisces is a symbol for spirituality, symbol for Christianity, for Christ, and they know their direction. Whereas Pisces is often chasing its tail because it doesn't know its direction.
Yes, because as you were saying, like I know that often, in art and symbolism, especially early Christian symbolism, Christ is actually depicted, represented as a fish.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so this is very interesting that we can find, this combination of Christian and mystical meanings,
because Pisces is a mystical sign as well. It's also the sign of the healer, and here we've got the priests that have always been involved in the healing arts. They've got their own little pharmacy here, and they've always been selling their medicines. So there's been some sort of a tradition as well around this, other than the spiritual side, but also embracing more things like healing.
Maybe this makes sense out of the origins of this basilica, because the San Minias, when he was killed, he was a martyr. He was killed during the fierce persecution of the 3rd century AD by the Roman Emperor Decius. The legend said that he actually picked up his head after being beheaded, and he climbed up the hill. He came here, and then he decided this would be his resting place. So maybe this thing of healing and resting and being in peace of mind, peace of the soul, it's actually a recurrent theme that we can find throughout the symbology and times inside this cathedral, no? Beautiful church. Wow. And can we see more?
I think this church has spoken to a lot of people, sort of like spoken to their soul.
Okay.
In some way a healing, a reconnecting.
Okay. And can we see more symbols of the Pisces and other?
Yes, you know,
inside the church?
another symbol that's very important, of course, is Taurus here.
Okay.
So this, the foundation stone, there was a foundation stone for this astrological wheel when it was chosen because most of the planets were in Taurus.
Okay.
So that for the early church represented a place. The intention was to build a place that was going to be extraordinarily beautiful, which
it is, because
yes.
we can admire also the view of Florence from here.
And that it's going to last.
Okay.
You know, this thing of Taurus, this durability,
Okay.
something, a foundation that would be very, very beautiful. It's Taurus is ruled by Venus. The Venus is in that position on the day that they laid that stone. It's in Taurus, as well as the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Saturn.
Great.
So all of those planets were lined up, and they chose that day to lay that stone.
So maybe as we admire this church, we can see that we can actually appreciate it for different reasons. Not only is an incredible artwork, architecture, original Romanesque architecture, where so many artists worked here and contributed to its beauty, but you also have a more spiritual, in-depth, symbological meaning.
Yeah,
that,
deeply symbolic.
Very interesting. Let's go and look at other symbols, maybe. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all of these, you could almost see them as astrological wheels. You know, they're just this circle everywhere.
Okay. So we climb up the steps, and we are actually in the choir, which, you know, it's very special to be in this section here, because it's very difficult to find, like, you know, a choir up on top of a pedal nowadays. But you wanted to show me something particular. Now we wanted to see something special here.
I wanted to show you how this Pisces symbol is repeated again.
Oh, wow.
Here we've got the fish. So you've got one there and one there. And again, it's this fish that are going towards heaven. Okay.
So you would think this would be like a reminder of Christ that is ascending towards heaven?
Yes, and it's the path.
Okay,
yes.
it's a path, it's a spiritual journey.
Which also ties in with this. If you look at Christ there
in the mosaic,
and he's got one foot that's out. The sun in September comes on to that, comes through one of these windows, and it lights up that foot. Okay, and so Pisces is it rules the feet. We think of the feet as it's more symbology around this Pisces. Okay, so it's like the path again. Where you put your feet. It's going towards heaven.
Okay, great.
The spiritual life.
That's very interesting to me. And again, another thing that I find interesting is, like, we're always reminded, because, you know, Florence being the practical city as it is, who were the people who paid for the church. So we have here the eagle again, with the cloth, the symbol of the merchant of cloth, you know, the Arte de Calimala, who were the patron of the church. And they were the one who paid, you know, to preserve the church and to make it beautiful. And look at this beautiful golden eagles here again on the chapel. So these are in first position to remind us, yes, enjoy it. We are the one who are giving you this.
Yes. And
I find it very fascinating, because this is such a mystical place, but being Florence, being the practical city as it has always been, at the same time you have like mysticism, spirituality, but, you know, practicality, you know, like a reminder of who's actually sponsoring it. So you have the two, you know, the two levels combined in this beautiful church. Another thing I would suggest people to admire if they come here is the incredible, perfect geometry of the decoration of the entire church. It's like a work of perfect geometry, you know. But you can also tell me that there's more of just beauty to admire, you know, when you have this perfect geometry and symbols, no?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's goes on the level of sacred geometry. Yes, you know, there's perfect harmony.
Okay.
So you know, it's all part of taking care of the soul.
Yes.
You know, giving the soul the beauty.
Since its foundation, probably, because I mean the martyr saint that this church is dedicated to actually decided to rest here. So probably it makes sense. And actually, it is said that he's resting below in the crypt, which we can go admiring if you want.
Yes.
You know, it's supposed to be holding the remains of Saint Minias, which we don't know if it's true or not, but people actually come and, you know, pray to the saint here. So
interestingly, he was also a Taurus. So this sign of Taurus, of this foundation, of the church with the planets were lined up in Taurus. He's a Taurus. Christ, the incarnation of Christ, being represented in Taurus. You know, the body that God came to earth in the body.
Yes,
Taurus,
yes.
You know, it's
very interesting. We're actually in a very special place. This is the crypt, and I think you do feel the vibration of mysticism here. This is where actually Mass occurs nowadays. So, what is very beautiful, a very beautiful thing to do, if you like to attend Mass, or even just because it's extremely beautiful, in the evening at the Vespri, which will be the Mass around sunset, here they hold a Mass in Latin with Gregorian chants. So that's also another incredible experience to have in here. And we are in the oldest part of the church remaining nowadays, and here in the main altarpiece we have, we think and we believe to have the remainings of Saint Minias. So incredible not to think that he's actually here and after such a long time. I mean, we're talking about what, 17th centuries, no, 18th centuries at this point almost. So it's really, really incredible. We don't know if it's really him, but we know that people worshipped this saint, and still today they come and pray because it's like, as you were saying, like the idea of healing and protection and spiritual health and the healing of the soul. It's very present in this church, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you come here also, I think, just to rest your mind, no? Yes. So I would definitely recommend people to come here because it's a special place. It's an occasion to feel a different type of Florence. We were often talking about that Florence is an incredible city, but it's so rich, it's so crowded with beauty and architecture that when you are in the city center, sometimes you feel like you're a bit claustrophobic because you're surrounded by so much. And then you just walk for like 10-15 minutes. You walk up a hill and you're in the middle of this restful, beautiful place, no?
Even just the journey coming up and then this monumental staircase that you come up, it lifts your soul.
Exactly, yes.
You know, it's this feeling.
That's how we can think of this place. It's a place where your soul can be lifted, you know, by art, beauty and magic and symbols, no? Yes?
Yeah. No, it feeds your soul.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it feeds your soul.
You know, I think of these two signs, Taurus and Pisces, together, and this is this marriage of these two signs, the spirituality, but the absolute beauty that also of Taurus that feeds your soul.
That's great. Thank you. This is very interesting. Thank you.